Thanks for joining me, Aditya. Now, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has claimed that the India-U.S. trade deal remains unsigned because Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not personally reach out to President Donald Trump. Speaking on a podcast, Lutnick said that the deal was ready but alleged that the final step required direct engagement with Modi, which he said did not happen. The remarks come as President Trump has approved legislation that could impose tariffs of up to 500% on countries purchasing Russian oil. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham said the bill would give Washington leverage over countries, including India, China, and Brazil, to pressure them to curb Russian oil imports. India and the United States had directed officials in February to begin talks on a phased trade agreement with an initial target of autumn 2025. However, negotiations have stalled, with India's energy ties with Russia emerging as a key sticking point. Currently, total U.S. tariffs on Indian goods stand at 50%, including additional and reciprocal duties. Despite multiple rounds of talks, including meetings in New Delhi in December, the agreement has yet to be finalized. The proposed deal seeks to more than double bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030. I have Dr. Sharad Kohli, senior economist, joining me on the broadcast. Dr. Kohli, welcome. And of course, Trump's indirect dictatorship continues across the world. And now, of course, we're talking about India. What would you like to say?
Like to tweak what you said with your permission in a nicer way. It's not indirect dictatorship, it is almost a direct dictatorship because he wants people to fall on his feet. He wants people to persuade him, to bow before him. How many times has Prime Minister spoken to him in the past? Even courtesy calls have been given. I think this is a lame excuse that Prime Minister didn't call him, after all the negotiations. When he has deputed authorized representatives, he just has to give approval. Why should there be a formal talk when more than six rounds of discussions have already happened? Where was the need for a call? Because the discussions were obviously happening at the behest of the two leaders of the countries. So I really fail to understand how this is being now presented as an excuse that Prime Minister did not call him. Or what did he expect Prime Minister to say? Okay, hello, sir, please accept this deal. We are not, India is not that kind of a country anymore. It used to be that kind of a country once upon a time. I think it's an absolute lame excuse. 500% tariff threat on India is ridiculous. And even when the trade deal discussions were on, Vaishali, he made these statements that, 500% tariffs on India, Brazil, China. It's absolutely ridiculous. And his actions around the world are surprising every single person on earth. Whether it is Venezuela, whether it is Greenland, whether it's remarks about Mexico, Colombia, Cuba, I think people are perplexed that is he taking the world into 19th century when there was colonial era, when countries used to go and capture another country where they were either, India was called Sone ki Chidiya at one point of time. And the Britishers came, ruled us for 200 to 250 years, robbed us of everything. I think he's going back to that era, looking at silver reserves of one country, looking at oil reserves of another country, looking at rare earth minerals of another country. I think he's taking the world back, but he's forgotten that the world has emerged out of that. We are no more in that era as of now. His decision to pull out of 66 international organizations, one of them being Indian-led, the Indian Solar, the Solar Alliance, I think just is so resounding of the fact that America is moving away from, forget about multilateralism, even bilateralism. I don't think America has got any friend at this point of time, except for the yes men. Anybody who stands with a folded hand before him, says yes to everything, I think is the one who's probably dear to him. People like, Asif Munir, who can go to White House, get a picture clicked and say, yes, sir, we are willing to do whatever you tell us. I think the world has moved away from that kind of era far, far long ago. I really don't see any reason why any country should bend before the president, and his own allies, NATO, European countries are now against him because Greenland, most of the European nations are opposing what he's doing on Greenland. Denmark has given an order today morning that shoot before asking for the reason that if you find any forces here trying to forcibly take Greenland, You need to shoot before. Do not even ask them. So that is the kind of rivalry he's trying to, seed around the world. I think this is a recipe for disaster. He's trying to divert attention of the American people because he's going to lose the midterm election. And his statement that if I lose the midterm election, I'm going to be impeached. So I think he wants to change the constitution. He wants to take America away from democracy itself. All his decisions are very, very weird. In fact, personally speaking, as an economist, we follow global geoeconomics and geopolitics as well. I am flabbergasted. I've never seen this kind of diplomacy. I have never seen this kind of language. I've never seen this kind of approach towards rest of the world, where there's a country like India who says Vasudev Kutumbakam, that the whole world is one family. And here is one head of the state of the biggest economy in the world who's trying to give these kind of statements and resort to these kind of policies. Absolutely perplexing, I would say, Vaishali.
Absolutely.